So it is, as you can see, I have my birthday tiara on. So I am the birthday girl in a couple of days. But what you have or may know or not know is right before my birthday, I met a guy, and that date went really wrong. So today is that anniversary, and so I'm gonna read you a poem that I wrote recently. But did you hear? But do you hear me? I hear you, and I can't not forget. I cannot ever forget you. Your names and stories exist in the very essence of our membranes. Not one child with melanin crosses the adulthood threshold without being told the tale of Emmett Till, the teen murdered for allegedly whistling at a white woman. And before him, there were 9 who lost their lives or livelihoods over the lies of 2 that screamed rape on a train. The case against Haywood, Clarence, Charlie, Andy, Roy, Olin, Ozzie, Willie, and Eugene set records and almost tore the North and South apart. But even before this story unfolded, a town, a black haven, our Wall Street was set ablaze because a white elevator operator falsely screamed foul play. Dick Rowland and many others lost their lives that hot night. So I hear my brothers who grew up in New York with the Central Park Five. The victim didn't point fingers, but still the futures of Corey, Kevin, Raymond, Yusef, and Antron were stolen away. So trust me when I say I hear you. Accusations have never been the friend of brown skin, but did you hear me? See, while I can appreciate the knee-jerk response to say, not me, I'm not like him, we need due process before belief, I wonder, do you hear me? Because to me, it sounds like white people after another black slaughter, a hashtag that inspires black people ire, not all white people. But when it comes to sexual assault, you loudly proclaim, not all men, and expect me not to feel hurt. Again, I say, I hear you. Accusations have never been the friend of brown skin, but did you hear me? In a time when women are shouting and crying, me too, are you listening or backing away saying not me and asking for proof, opposed to just listening? As a black person, I appreciate the request for due process. Too many have had their lives snatched away by lies, but I lay in bed terrified that I will never heal from the men that forced me into the Me Too sorority. Me Too. And I'm not just referencing the times I've had to correct men for speaking only to my breast or messaging me about the things they like to do to me before they ever said hi. Me too, because the bus driver grabbed my breast while picking up and dropping off passengers. Me too, because I was so shocked that he did that I told no one, but blamed myself for granting his request for a hug. Me too, because I didn't say anything when my partner, without my consent, removed the condom. I knew something was wrong, something was different. I cried from the violation I felt and couldn't name, and he blamed me for killing the mood. Yes, me too. Me too, because my date that I thought I was safe with dropped his pants when I made it clear I wanted to go home. And rather than seeing it as an act of sexual misconduct, I blamed myself for being there. Who could I tell? Who would listen? And me too, because the guy bigger than me stood between me and the door. And me too, because after many no's, I acquiesced. I gave in under duress and fear and blamed myself until I finally was brave enough to share my story with the police. But being a victim of date rape while trapped in a tiny room with a judgmental man telling me it sounded like my fault terrified me back into silence. But I can't be silent. 3 of the 4 were brothers. Only 1 of the 4 ever admitted fault. They all live their lives and I live imprisoned. I have so many safeguards around myself physically and emotionally. I stand in crowds checking faces for him. I tell mutual friends that to him I don't exist. I can't take a cab without making sure he is not the driver. I live in fear and will never get justice. But I do get, well, can you prove it? Deeds done in the dark are done in the dark so that they can remain in the shadows of the dark. And the boys club prevails when we are asked, when we are asked what I wore, why'd I stay? Didn't I say no? Why didn't I go? Tell me the details and I'll tell you if it was great. People lie, you know. I can't prove it. I can't justify my actions, but they still took and gave me a lifelong membership into Me Too. I'll never prove it, and the fraternity will never be on my side. They will never listen because history has dictated so. so afraid of being slain again. They can't hear me cry. Me too. Me too. Me too. Thank you.